guest is dedicated to helping her clients find the home of their dreams. She's the owner of Remax Alliance in Sammamish and Spokane, Washington. And after having a successful career in business development and making money for other people, when an opportunity came along to buy the Remax Alliance brokerage, she decided it was time to take a chance on herself and fulfill a lifelong dream of owning her own business. Shortly after owning the brokerage in Sammamish, another opportunity arose and she expanded to Spokane. Her goal is to continue to grow in this exciting and challenging real estate market. When not immersed in real estate, she spends time with her son and 2 dogs. She enjoys cooking, traveling, and writing. Please welcome Joannine Kramarsic.
Thank you for having me. It's very exciting.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk about all things real estate because I love real estate too. I'm not licensed in it, but I just love it. I love the hunt. I love finding the deals. I just love all the aspects of it. So tell me, when did you become interested in real estate and what made you want to become an agent?
Growing up, my parents owned several rental properties. So and my mother wanted to become a real estate agent, but way back then, I think probably before calculators, you had to do the calculations, and she really had a hard time passing the math, so never did become a licensed agent, but she was always very interested in it as well. And when I lived in the Bay Area, I worked for a well-known agent. And it was a fascinating learning from him and seeing how, a really power agent operated. So, and then when I did buy the brokerage, I actually officially got my real estate license. So it's been exciting.
That is crazy to think they used to make real estate agents do all those calculations and numbers. Holy cow. That's
No.
that's a lot of math. That's crazy. I'm so glad nowadays we don't have to do that. We've got like computer programs and stuff like that to help us with that because yikes, that would be a
Right.
lot.
I probably wouldn't have passed either. So
I was gonna say, I don't think I'd be able to too. I mean, I went to high school when you only had to do 2 years worth of math, and then they're like, "Oh, you're in sports? Okay, you don't have to do math anymore." So I like skated through it.
That's
Jeez.
great.
Well, besides the math part of it, what's the most challenging part of your work? Because I know like there's got to be ebbs and flows to what you do based on like what's happening in the market and all that stuff that goes into it.
hmm well, there's definitely the challenging part of managing everything that seems like a priority. And then the seasonality aspect of it as well is challenging. Sometimes it's feast or famine. So that's another part that you have to manage your time well. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on all of the business when it slows down. The other challenging part is just making sure we all have enough business to pay the bills. So,
Absolutely. Well,
mhm,
and one of those aspects that you use to make sure that you have enough of a pipeline has got to be marketing. So what's
mhm.
the most important part of marketing that you use in your business?
Yeah, so there are so many different platforms and ways to market yourself and connect with your clients. The most important thing is consistent communication. And that's really it. It doesn't matter what you choose, because if you like the platform you're using, you're going to market yourself using that platform. So that's my best advice there, is just consistently do something and communicate to your clients or to your sphere, your network, potential clients on a regular basis.
Well, and that could be whether it's email or
Mhm.
Instagram or whatever it
Mhm.
is, picking one thing. I mean, I think that's something that all of us as small business owners can use is whatever we do, pick one thing. Doesn't have to be
Mhm.
15 things.
No.
Pick one thing and be consistent about it because that's what's really going to help people. You're going to stay in the forefront of people's minds because not everybody's, looking to buy or sell right now, but you want to be that person that when they do think of it, you're the one they think of.
Yeah, it's so important to stay top of mind, because there's always the next shiny bouncing ball. And if you're not that person right there, you'll miss out on an opportunity. So if you can do one, two, three platforms, the consistency is the most important part. Otherwise, you know, reaching out here and there, it's not going to stick. So,
What do
yeah.
you think the best way to stay consistent? What do you guys use at your brokerage? Do you do it as simple as a spreadsheet? Do you have a program? Like, how do you guys
Mhm.
keep all that stuff organized?
Calendar.
I love that.
Yeah, you definitely have to plan for it because, it's easy to, since it doesn't seem like the most important thing right now, it's easy to think, well, I have business right now, so I don't really need to do that. But then what happens a few months down the line, your pipeline is dry and you needed to do the marketing 3 months ago, but you didn't. So the calendar keeps you on track, accountable. And if you stick to your calendar, then and the planning, and you can plan and marketing in advance. So that is the most important thing I think that you do is planning it out.
Well, and
Having
I
a system. Mhm.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say having a system is good.
I
Mhm.
think that that is something that we as entrepreneurs sometimes get sucked into. I know myself because I love me some technology, that sometimes keeping it simple and just using your calendar is so effective. But it's like we layer on all this extra stuff and buy all these extra programs. And really,
Mhm.
you don't need all that stuff. You just need to keep it simple and be consistent by using your calendar, which is like so easy. But I feel like sometimes the easy stuff can also be sometimes the hard stuff too.
Well, that's your foundation, right? And so how you execute your plan can happen in different ways. But if you have some foundational pieces in place, then the execution part can change as marketing does change over time, just, as we know.
Well, and one question that I was going to ask you too is how much marketing is enough marketing? Like how do you know if you're doing enough, you need to do more, you need to do less? Because again, I think that's something that all of us as small business owners, that's kind of like the question of like, are we doing enough? Do we need to do
Well,
more?
I would say you're never going to be in a place where you need to do less.
True.
Right? And I mean, marketing really, as a small business owner and as a real estate agent, it needs to become more of a mindset, not just a task. It needs to be a natural um, part of how you think about growing your business because there are marketing, you're never really doing enough marketing because you might have business now, but as we're talking to, you're always building your business for the future. And every opportunity, getting coffee is an opportunity to market yourself or your business or, your neighbor. So you never stop marketing. And it has to be a natural thing that you understand is part of growing your business. And it's essential to who you are for your success. So I don't think you ever are finished marketing. It's part of keeping successful.
Absolutely. Now, along with like planning that all out, putting it on your
Mhm.
calendar, setting time aside to do it, how do you
Mhm.
create a budget for marketing?
So that's where you need to know, where do you get the greatest impact for your money, your greatest ROI? And then you take those dollars and focus on your target market. You focus on your greatest investment and go with that. I mean, and try to maximize the things that are free too, like community, being involved in your community or networking. There are a lot of free things you can do just by being out there and being involved in groups, volunteering, those things too.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's
Mhm.
one thing that we don't remember. Like those things that we're out doing in the community and those organizations that we're volunteering, maybe those
Mhm.
people don't even know what we do. Maybe it's up to us. I mean, not be like, over the top, sleazy salesman kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but just making sure that people know what we do outside of
Mhm.
this volunteer organization. Because I think there's so many times that people say, oh, if I would have known that you did that, I would have asked you to do it. And so making sure that what we do is not a secret and not feeling weird about saying to somebody, hey, this is what I do. What do you do? Starting that
Mhm.
conversation versus being super aggressive about like, hey, do you want to sell your house? It gets super awkward. But I think it's important to have conversations and making sure that we
Mhm.
don't keep what we do a secret People should know what we do because we already have that established relationship with them.
Exactly, and that was just then my next point was that when you own a small business, so much about marketing is developing relationships. And then, like, when you're out in your community, then people will refer to your business, and it just grows organically in a lot of ways too, because you have a presence. And even if you're not, just say, let's say you're a completely online business still, you still can get a lot of referrals from your businesses.
Absolutely. Do
From
you
your
have
clients.
any other tips or techniques for reaching out to customers besides the typical ones? Like, is there anything that you do at your brokerage that might be considered different, but like different in the best way possible?
Well, as we all know, there are no new things anymore. So,
True.
but
Very true.
I think what we try to do and what I think is important is to keep your past clients top of mind. A lot of times people forget about the people that have already used their business or their service. And so that's where you get them. It's that 80-20 rule, right?
hmm
And keeping in touch with your past clients, because if they don't need to use you now, they can refer you because they have the best experience with you. So that's what I think we might do differently than others, is that's a focus of um, making sure your past clients are well taken care of and remember you. And not that you're always asking for business from them, but you provide value as well. And you don't always want to be asking for business, because a lot of times you want to provide value so that they will come back and use you.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up because I think it's one of those things that we default and we say, okay, we either bought or sold with you and now it's on to the next. But
Yeah, yeah.
really, it's
Mhm,
like those people's lives are still changing, especially when it comes to buying and selling homes. Like, there are things that happen all the time
mhm.
that you might not even be aware of if you're not in touch with your people. And so being part of those life changes and being there to assist people when they need you is so important. I'm glad that you brought that up because I feel like there's so many people that are like, on to the
Yeah,
next, when it's
yeah.
really like, no, make sure you're taking care of the people that you've helped previously because they can really be a huge stream of referrals for you that you might not necessarily even remember.
Exactly. And when you talk about spending money on marketing, you don't really need to spend much money there because they already used you. Either you had a good experience, you're assuming. So you just need to keep in touch with them and, give them some value, like what their home is worth now, or provide a connection, develop the relationship, connect when it's a birthday, things like that.
Well, and especially too with like so much going on with like the housing market and the changes and those things happen all the time and making sure that
Mhm.
people know, kind of what's going on from a trusted source because there's a lot
Right.
of stuff on the internet that's not true. So being able to
True.
continue that relationship with you and make sure that because you are a trusted source, the information that you put out is going to be correct. It's not going to be something that they might have seen, on a random social media channel, somebody who's not licensed. I think that's
Mhm.
something that pops up all the time is there's
Yeah.
people that say they're experts, but
Yes.
they're not licensed, they're not up to date on all the things that
Mhm.
go into real estate. And it's important that you have those relationships with people so you can share that with them so they know that they're getting information from a trusted and verified source.
Definitely. You want to be known as the expert, and
Absolutely.
that they will look to you for advice,
Mhm.
because that's where you are advising your clients in some of their biggest decisions that they make. And that's what makes real estate very rewarding as well.
Absolutely. I mean, biggest probably decisions in their life, right? I
Yeah.
mean, where you're gonna live is a big deal.
And it's, for most people, the biggest financial uh, purchase they're going to make. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be involved in that part of someone's life. And so that's why it is important to keep your past clients, because you were involved with them in a very important part of their life and you help them navigate through it. So you already have a special relationship established, and to keep that going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
So, one question that I ask every single guest on my
Mhm.
podcast is, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a small business owner?
Well, as most small business owners, we go through periods of chaos and overwhelm. And something that has helped me is to keep my vision top of mind, keep that in sight so that I take a breath and I remember why I'm doing all of this. And the chaos and the overwhelming is just right now. And we just need to work through it and focus on our vision and keep that as our guide.
I love that because what small business owner is not overwhelmed from time to time? I'm sure people listening are like, that's me. I'm right in the thick of it right now. So making sure that we hang on to that vision and remember why we're doing this, because let's be honest, this role of being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. It
No.
can kick you while you're down, drag you, face first through the gravel, but there can also be some amazing rewarding things that happen too. So making sure that that vision is top of mind, I think, is perfect advice for anybody who's a small business owner, whether you're a real estate agent or not. So I
Mhm.
love that. Now, where can people find you? I mean, if you are here in Washington, where I'm at as well, where's the best place for people to connect with you? Is that on social media? How is that?
Yeah, on social media, if you just Google or not, well, you can Google, but on social media, Instagram, a Remax Alliance of Washington, Remax Alliance of Spokane, you'll find us.
Oh, that's
And
great.
then you can Google my name too. You'll find me as well.
Well, and I'll be sure to put those links in the show notes too. So
Thank
if
you.
people are running or driving, they can get easy access to that. So thank you again so much for spending time with us. I love this conversation about marketing, but also how we stay out of overwhelm. I think there's so many golden nuggets that we had today. So thank you for spending time with me.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you for having me.